what's up, y'all? It's popping. It's D. Boss react to this vid. This is what's the most offensive fat character in media that you've ever seen. I don't know what they mean. What could be offensive? If they fat, they fat. I don't know. But this sounds kind of funny. I want to hear what they got to say. Let's watch.
Tell me, what is the most horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat character?
Horrifying.
Honestly, I'm so glad you asked, because I feel like I've been waiting to talk about this forever. And yeah, I'm about to talk about Fat Monica from Friends. It's honestly bad enough this was her flashback, and this is when she was supposed to be so big. And this was the Monica that all of the jokes referenced, where her bathing suit was big enough to cover Connecticut when it rains, and her band uniform was a home ec project that they thought was for the mascot. Then they gave us this Monica for the What If episode. This woman is smaller than I am now. Here she is with a little more padding. It looks...
This is what gets on my nerves about people. This might be triggering for some people. It is what it is. It's not about you. Y'all calling her fat, but she's smaller than I am. Nobody knows you who put together Friends. They don't know you. So why would that be offensive to you because they calling her fat, but you bigger than her?
And they portrayed her as a sloppy, messy, awkward virgin because she's fat. And about 6 years ago, I was bigger than Fat Monica ever was. This is me in 2015. I was 270 pounds, and I'm bigger than Fat Monica ever was. And for them to portray her as such a horrendously large character really killed me.
Stitch this and tell me, what is the most horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat character?
The bullying.
This is Monica. Hi, I'm sister.
The exaggeration. The desperation.
Oh, yeah, it was great. You should be chef. Okay. Stop that. I just want to be stuck here all night with your fat sister. Hey.
The eating disorder encouragement.
I'm sorry, I love Friends, and I thought Fat Monica was hilarious.
Only being there for comedic relief. The stereotype of being physically incapable.
What is the most horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat character in
Norbert is hilarious.
This character, this movie.
What? I love Norbert.
To a full explanation. We all know what was wrong with that. This set fat black women back by so long. I still send Eddie Murphy threatening letters over this. I don't actually do that, but I should. And like, it's standard for everyone to say, you know, it was a comedy. It was just a funny movie. Yeah, that's cute. Until you're fat and black and people just call you Respucia all the time, or it just promotes a stereotype that you're just like man crazy and desperate for a man, and all you do is just sit around and eat and do nothing else. And this whole era of the fat suit was just horrible.
What is the most horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat
but
character in entertainment?
This fucking movie,
I've never seen this movie.
the character in question isn't even on the cover because she's fat, even though she's just as much of a main character as any of these people.
Oh.
You best fucking believe I am talking about Miss Yancey, not Nancy.
Oh, she feels
Yancey
strongly
from
about
the
this.
2004 movie Sleepover. Look how cute this girl is.
She is
Within
cute.
the first 5 minutes of the movie, they make like a diet industry joke. Brie Larson's actually the actress who makes the joke, fun fact. They make her like the outcast. She like got invited to the party last minute because they felt bad for her. That's like a whole different thing at the end of the movie. She's constantly like the dumb bitch the whole time, like butt of the joke, like here she is orange because she used too much self-tanner.
Yeah,
Then this
what
guy comes in and he's not even fat, and they're like, oh, he's perfect for you because he's fat. They're like, Yancey, do you like celery or brownies better? And she's like, brownies. And they're like, well, just date guys who like brownies. Huh? 60 seconds is not enough. Okay, Sleepover analysis part 2. Fat phobia aside, this has to do with the amount of older men in the movie dating teen girls. The main character, Julie, was played by Alexa Vega, and this was her love interest through the movie. His name was Steve. I don't know the actor's name, but he was 22, and they, like, yeah, this guy. So I don't know if they were trying to portray him as like a high
movie,
schooler, like an older high schooler on summer break, or a college student on summer break, but he was basically like, oh, I help my uncle move speakers during the summer, it's my summer job. Regardless, like, if you're gonna be 18 next year, why are you hitting on a girl who just graduated the 8th grade? Why are you doing it, you little weirdo? And then finally we have the teacher who's like the manic pixie dream boy of the movie, who's like, oh, I'm just this like little innocent nerdy teacher, but if I take my glasses off, I'm really cute. Who's just clubbing with his students. He wasn't like gonna go club with the students, but he ends up clubbing with the students, and it's not okay. We were okay with that. Okay, now that I've gotten the creepy older thing out of the way, we can get back to Miss Yancey. So Nancy's love interest was Peter. Again, now that we've gotten the fact that he was significantly older than her out of the way, let's just imagine.
This movie seemed trash. Get to the point.
I'm gonna start out by saying neither of these actors were fat. Like, for a portrayal of a fat character, these people were not fat. This is a perfectly cute boy. He looks like P-Bess and Jack Black. And he was very sweet throughout the movie, even though his sweetness was creepy because he's older. Let's imagine he's not older. So they basically told us that if you're fat, you can only love fat people, and fat people will only love you in return. Because you just have to seek your equal. Which, if you're actually a fat person in real life, you understand that's not how it works. And as kids, we just accepted this. We were like, oh, that's fact. And it's like, now that we're older, it's like, but I'm just happy now that we all know that this is a huge part of our body.
What is the most horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat character?
Gwyneth Paltrow and Shanell fucking Hal. No, hear me out. The premise is so
love
cute.
This
because
movie.
This guy falls in love with this girl, but only because he's hypnotized and sees her as a thin woman.
Oh.
Okay, TikTok, stitch this and tell me what is the most horrifyingly offensive representation.
This was made for me. Okay. I'm gonna show you. Hold on. This is Tara from the Wings Saga. The writing of this character is a war crime against plus-size people. I know it's more recent, and I think that it's because it came out so recently that it's so problematic and we should be bringing attention to it. Watching this character was like learning about how really thin white women assume it must feel like to be plus sized. Like, I wasn't listening to the voice of a fat woman talk about her body. I was listening to the list of insecurities that thin people assume that plus size bodies experience constantly. It's the most infuriating portrayal of a plus size body that I've ever seen.
Horrifyingly offensive representation of a fat character in entertainment and media that you have.
What the fuck is this?
If you have never seen it, spoiler alert, when the trailers for this shit first came out, everyone was kind of excited.
Everyone.
It looked so promising. Then it actually came out, and it was train wreck. This right here, Sierra Burgess, I don't know. She is in love with him.
That's a Disney movie?
One day, she gets his phone number, and she texts him.
But she not fat.
And he thinks it's her. And instead of clarifying it, she goes along with it. And in fact, she befriends her so that she can help her catfishes her to him. At one point in the movie, he wants to kiss her, he has his eyes closed, and she swaps places with her, and she kisses him instead. He's her friend, and he has common sense. And she gets
like,
away
what the
with
fuck
it.
is going on?
Is the most
I'm so
horrifyingly
confused because she
offensive
don't look fat.
representation of a fat character in entertainment and media.
I picked this one solely because of the premise of the movie. You guessed it, it's the Duff. And Duff stands for the designated ugly fat friend.
Oh, damn.
And the designated ugly fat friend in question is this lady right here.
What?
Yeah. No more needs to be said.
No, they did not. That I feel like that's a troll then.
I'm literally waiting for somebody to bring this up. Dickie Parker's character was one of the worst representations of a fat black woman that I ever had during my childhood. He literally chased the professor around the whole 4 seasons. Even when she found somebody else, that was better and cuter and was genuinely interested in her, like, that didn't work out. It always came back to the professor. Meanwhile, he always insults her. They always portrayed her like she was so heavy that it was just astronomical. She was always the butt of, like, his jokes. Like, her weight was always the butt of his jokes. Like, never, like, yeah, she, like, stalked him and stuff, but, like, the main part of his jokes, 98% of them were about how heavy she was. And then, in the final season, she meets this guy who, like, genuinely has an interest in her, because every other part of the show, she has a...
They always use this same light skin nigga. For, like, black movies, to be, like, the heartthrob, and he used to be, like, licking his lips. He's not even that cute. Jesus.
Amazing personality, and she's really smart. It's just the professor that can't see her potential.
Look at his hairline all
they
fucked up.
actually go to get married. The professor crashes her wedding, and then she ends up marrying him because
is the most horrifyingly offensive.
Okay, so this is part 2 of me talking about Nikki Parker being that character. Now, in and of herself, like, she was so amazing, like, as far as personality, style, like, she was always cute, hair was always done as the times changed, like, her fashion. I don't know who was on wardrobe for this show, but they absolutely killed it. But anyway, it always made me angry because she left Johnny, who was a great catch. Like, he looked good, he had a great job, like, he really loved her. They made you to believe that, like, oh, if you wait for love and you just wait long enough, 5 years, you'll finally see the potential after making fun of you and calling you crazy and all of these things. After she did, I can't even get into all the things that she did for him. Like, what was it? Like, she gave him blood one episode, or like, she rescued his job. Like, there's just so many, like, I've rewatched it a few times. So there's just so many things that she did for him, for his well-being, and he just didn't care. So yes, as a dark-skinned, plus-size girl growing up, having her as an example, her character, not in of herself, but the relationship, no.
Oh my god, I could not stand that show. She was so annoying. And her voice, hey, Professor Ogilvy, got on my goddamn nerves. Like, I hated the Parkers. But yeah, this whole topic, it's a bit tricky. But here's the thing. The reality is, overweight people are not seen as the most desirable in our society. They're just not. No matter what country you're in, wherever you are in the world, people lean more towards people who are fit, thin, leaner. Fat people are kind of looked down upon. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. It's fucked up, but it is what it is. So, is it too far-fetched that they would be depicted in a less desirable way? Like, I feel like if there was a TV show where it was this bigger woman and, you know, all the guys were drooling over her, people would be like, this is fake as fuck. Like, what is this? You feel me? So, I'm not saying that they need to be depicted in a super negative light and looking crazy, but at the same time, it's like, what? And I don't want to say it's realistic, but in some instances it kind of is. It kind of is. And in some ways that I've seen fat people be depicted on shows and shit, it does kind of have some truth to it. Obviously, they make shit more dramatic. It's fucking TV. It's fake. They're gonna, like, make shit more dramatic and be extra and be over the top with shit. But for the most part, it's like, but this is kind of how it is in some cases. So I just don't understand why people watch things like this and take it personally. Like the chick who's like, oh, they're calling her fat, but I'm fatter than her, so what does that mean about me? It's like, it's not about you though. Like, why are you taking this so personally? Like, you can get offended by literally anything on TV and movies, commercials, music. Like, why though? Why? But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. And this is coming from someone who's been fat many, many times. I've been fat several times in my life, all right? So, I mean, I get it to a certain degree, but also it's just like, the reality is society don't really fuck with fat people as a whole. It just, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. It is what it is. And I feel like people usually have less empathy towards overweight people because it's like, but you have full control over your size, though. Obviously, there are some cases where some people, you know, they have health conditions, blah, blah, blah. People always love to bring up the outliers. But, nigga, for the most part, that's not the case. For the most part, when people are overweight, it's because they ate themselves to that weight. Every single time I've been fat in my life, and it's been many times, I ate myself to that size. So I can't sit here and eat myself to a certain size and then watch shit on TV and be like, oh, they making fat people look bad and I'm fat, so now I'm sad. It's just like, you know, so I don't know. I personally have a hard time empathizing with shit like this because it's like, bro, you don't have to watch those shows. And you don't have to watch, you know, those movies if you feel like they're making you feel bad about yourself. You don't have to watch those things. But more importantly, if you do feel bad about yourself, you should ask yourself why. Why is that making you feel bad? Is it because you feel like you should be making a positive change and taking your health more serious? I don't know. It's a slippery slope. I ain't gonna get too deep into it because, you know, people will be getting offended. And, you know, they want to be like, oh, you don't have empathy. It's not that simple. And da-da-da. It's like, whatever. But I just don't see the point in getting offended by some fucking fake characters on a TV show or movies. You know how much shit I've seen about black people, and it's like, I've side-eyed the fuck out of some shit like, I don't know how this making black people look. I ain't fucking with it. And then I just stop watching it and not going about my business, you know? But you know, it is what it is. People have, you know, different experiences. Everybody's experience is valid. But yeah, I actually really like these characters. I love some of these fat characters. And I watched many of them when I was really fat. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know what other videos you want me to watch, and I'll see y'all the next time. Bye!